Wildcats are nearly silent, so the next time your cat meows at you, understand this. That sound was invented for you, and only for you. Picture the cat your house cat came from, a lone hunter slinking through the desert who could go days without making a single peep. If you were that cat, talking out loud would be a great way to tell every rival in every meal exactly where you are. And yet the small, fluffy version, asleep on your couch, won't shut up, but weirdly, only around you. Not at other cats, not at the dog, not even at the cat next door. Your cat saves almost all of its meowing for one species on Earth, us. Because the meow was never really the cat's language at all. It's a tool, one your cat aims straight at your brain. So why does a silent little predator suddenly turn into a chatterbox the second a person walks in? To understand the meow, we have to meet the cat before it ever met us. Your tabby's wild ancestor is a creature called the Near Eastern wildcat, Felis silvestris lybica, and it's basically a tiny, sand-colored loner. It hunts alone, sleeps alone, and patrols its own patch of desert alone, and it likes it that way. So how do you run a whole social life without ever calling a meeting? You leave notes. A wildcat's real language is written in smells and body language. A cheek rub here, a spray of scent there, a flick of the tail, a tilt of the ears. It's a silent, invisible message board, and every cat for miles can read it without a single sound. Now, that doesn't mean wildcats are mute. Corner one and it'll hiss, growl, or scream to scare off a rival or find a mate. But the everyday conversational meow, out in the open, that's just a dinner bell that tells your next meal you're coming. So adult wildcats almost never meow at one another. The wildcat isn't shy. It's just worked out that the smartest hunter is the quiet one. There's exactly one time in a wildcat's life when it meows its little head off, when it's a kitten. A newborn kitten is blind, deaf, and pretty much helpless, a warm potato that can't even keep itself warm. So it comes with one built-in emergency button, a tiny, high-pitched mew. Cold? Mew. Hungry? Mew. Lost in the long grass? Mew? And it works, because that sound is aimed at the one creature on Earth will drop everything to help. Mom. The mew is a kitten's word for mom, I need you, and nothing else. But here's the part that matters. As the kitten grows up, learns to hunt, and steps into that silent adult world, it quietly puts the mew away. Among grown wildcats, the baby talk fades out, most of it gone within a few months. The meow, in other words, was supposed to be something you grow out of. It's a child's word, which makes what house cats did with it kind of amazing. Because house cats never grew out of it. Somewhere along the way, the domestic cat did something no wildcat does. It kept the baby talk and pointed it straight at us. To your cat, you're not just a giant weird roommate. In a way, you're mom, the warm, food-having giant who comes when called. So your cat dug out that old kitten emergency button and started pressing it at humans. And we answered every single time. But it gets stranger, because your cat isn't just meowing, it's meowing at you, specifically. Researchers have found that you can read the meaning of your own cat's meows well above chance. The feed me meow, the let me out meow, the 3 a.m. existential crisis meow. Play you a stranger's cat, though, and you're basically guessing. The cat down the street sounds like gibberish. That's the giveaway. Your cat didn't inherit one universal cat word for hungry. The two of you built a tiny private language just between you. A handful of sounds that mean something only because you've answered them over and over for years. Now, the meow is the obvious tool, but your cat has a second, sneakier one, and to find it, scientists had to look inside a sound you'd never suspect, the purr. We think of purring as pure happiness, the warm rumble of a content cat, and usually that's exactly what it is. But back in 2009, a behavior scientist named Dr. Karen McComb at the University of Sussex noticed something odd. Her own cat had a way of purring at her each morning that didn't feel cozy at all. It felt like a demand. So she did what scientists do. She got suspicious, and she got recordings. Cartine gathered purrs from about a dozen cats in two moods: happy, just hanging out purrs, and solicitation purrs, the ones cats make when they want something, usually breakfast. Then they played those purrs to around 50 people and asked how urgent and how pleasant each one sounded. People rated the feed me purrs as clearly more urgent and less pleasant, even folks who'd never owned a cat in their lives. Something was hidden in that purr that the human ear simply couldn't ignore. When the team studied the sound, they found a high, thin cry buried inside the low rumble, a little peak at around 380 hertz, sitting right near the pitch of a crying human baby. The purr was the cozy blanket. The cry was smuggled inside it. To prove that cry was the secret ingredient, they did something brilliant. They digitally erased it, left everything else about the purr untouched, and played it again. The urgency vanished. Take out the hidden cry, and the demand disappears with it. Your cat, it turns out, had figured out how to fake a baby. While we're inside the purr, there's one more strange thing worth knowing, and this one comes with a giant asterisk. The cry hidden in that demanding purr is a high sound, but the purr underneath it is low, a deep rumble whose base frequency sits somewhere around 25 to 150 hertz. And here's the curious part. That low band happens to overlap the exact range of gentle vibration that physiotherapists had studied for helping bones grow and heal. The same rough neighborhood of frequencies. Which has led a few researchers to wonder out loud, could a cat's purr be, in some tiny way, good for the body? Now, the giant asterisk, as promised. This is a fun coincidence, not a proven cure. Nobody has shown that a purring cat in your lap is knitting your bones back together. The honest, slightly less magical truth is just that the numbers overlap, scientists noticed, and they wondered. But it's a lovely thought that the most relaxing sound in your house lives in the very same frequency band we use to help put people back together. So, we've got a silent wild hunter that turned into a chatterbox, a baby word that should have faded but didn't, and a cry smuggled into a purr. Which leaves the biggest question of all: who taught the cat to do this? The uncomfortable answer is, we did. Not on purpose. Nobody sat down to breed a better beggar. It happened in two ways, across two wildly different stretches of time. The slow way took about 10,000 years. When humans started storing grain, mice showed up, and cats showed up to eat the mice. The cats that thrived around people weren't the fiercest ones. They were the tolerable ones, the ones whose sounds we found a little cuter, a little easier to live with. Generation after generation, we kept the cats we liked close. We were running a breeding program without ever realizing we'd signed up. And the fast way happens in your own kitchen, every single day. Your cat makes a sound, you feed it. So tomorrow it makes that sound again, a little more insistent, a little closer to the one that worked. Right now, you are teaching your cat which cries get results. Between the slow grind of 10,000 years and the daily lesson of one full food bowl, we shaped an animal that talks to us, and we shaped it to be very, very good at it. The cat never tricked us. We're the ones who kept saying yes. So tonight, when that small, silent predator strolls in, looks you dead in the eye, and meows, listen to what you're really hearing. Not an animal that learned to speak, an animal that learned to speak to you. A baby's cry, folded into a purr, aimed at the one species soft enough to answer. Wildcats are nearly silent. Yours isn't, because over 10,000 years, and one feeding at a time, you asked it to talk, and now you finally know what it's been saying.